All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Happy holiday
Hello,
week.
hello. What's up? What's up? What's going on?
Everybody
Good
that's
to
in the
see
US, happy
everybody.
holidays. I know some of you are in other countries. You might not be celebrating Thanksgiving this week, but good, good to see everyone. What's up? So I have Josh with me today. You guys, so
What's
so it
going
is.
on, everybody? But I'm not the special guest tonight. I am not the special guest
You're
tonight.
always the special guest. What are you
Uh,
talking about?
oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But tonight we have somebody on for you, an industry professional. She's from the Cycle 24 of America's Next Top Model, and she was the runner up. She made it all the way. I voted for her. Jeremy, did you?
I did, of course. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
On
Okay.
all my
Just making
devices.
sure.
Yeah.
Just making sure. All right. But she's going to be talking to you guys about the entertainment business. So use this time, use this connection, get as much knowledge as you can, listen, take notes, and ask some good educated questions. But guys, let's have my good friend on with us, Miss Jeana Turner, everybody.
All right. Welcome.
Yay.
Everybody.
Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Just as a quick thing too, guys, if you guys have questions as we're going through here, we're going to be chatting. Put it in the chat for us, and then we'll address those questions as many of them as we possibly can. So, as we're chatting, but first of all, let's start off. Where are you joining us from today?
Me, I'm from Las Vegas. I'm in Las Vegas right now, and it's probably not the Vegas everyone thinks. It's freezing here right now.
Yeah.
It's really
Vegas
rainy.
does get cold for a little bit every year. It does snow actually a little bit too, I think, occasionally.
Now and then. Yeah, I think for like the last few years it snowed specifically on New Year's night,
Nice.
and that's it.
Always
But it
fun.
like sticks to the ground for like 3 minutes and then it's
Yeah,
gone.
definitely a very light snow when it does snow, but it doesn't get cold. It's high desert, so at night in the winter it does cool off. But well, welcome. Thank you for joining us from Vegas tonight.
Yes, I'm
We
super happy.
appreciate you being here. We want to get to know you a little bit and maybe talk about the industry and give these guys some tips and insight into everything. But if you don't mind, obviously you were, on the show, right? But let's rewind. Do you mind talking about how that opportunity came about? How did you even get that chance to get on the show?
To be honest, it's been so many years now that like everything's a bit of a blur. I feel like when you go through the reality TV world, all the like small details on how it became get lost and you start forgetting. Maybe it's a trauma response also. But initially, I had always wanted to be on the show when I was a kid. I'd watch it every Wednesday when it was like on the CW or UPN, maybe even like that far back. And like secret though. No one knew I wanted to be a model. I would just like watch the show in secret. I was super shy, actually, believe it or not. I had the hardest time my senior year in high school trying to find a baby picture for the yearbook because I hated cameras as a kid. Like as a kid, you would have never imagined that I would have at all been a model or anywhere in this industry in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. But I would just watch it in secret. And I was just like, I was learning things on my own and teaching myself things from what I was watching. And, eventually I got older and I was on a dance team and like naturally became a performer, but not in the world of modeling. And so I got comfortable with being on a stage and having people look at me. And that was kind of like the start of it was to dance. And then I was like, turned 18 and my mom tried her hardest to just keep me in dance forever. I didn't have like super duper like supportive family members when it came to modeling. I guess everyone in my family kind of looked at it as a dream. And I know we hear that a lot, when it comes to like Hollywood in general. So my family looked at it that way and they were like, no, like, I think you should go to school and keep dancing. And like modeling is not something that we're doing at all. Um, and so, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. My screen just kind of like went out for a second.
There you go.
Um, and so I was like, I turned 18 and I was like, I'm an adult. I'm going to go audition for America's Next Top Model and do it on my own and not need, any type of like backing and support behind me. So I went and I didn't get it the first time, believe it or not. Same girl, same story, same everything. My very first try, I went to like one of those cattle calls where you have to go to a hotel downtown and all that stuff. And there was just no traction from it whatsoever. So I'm like, okay, maybe modeling isn't for me, and maybe I should just keep going to school and dancing like my family thought I should. And so I kind of gave up on the idea of being on a reality show. But I pursued modeling on my own through avenues that I knew of through local modeling agencies. And I started getting curious about it from the perspective of an actual working model instead of a model that started her career potentially based off TV and or reality TV in that way. And so I, linked with photographers, built my book, and then I hit a really rough patch with modeling where I wasn't making as much money to live comfortably. And I was like, it's time to go back to school and listen to everything everyone else said I should have done in the first place. So I went to cosmetology school. And at the end of school, the last week of school lined up with that final cycle 24, 23 of America's Next Top Model. And then the very final episode, it was like, do you want to be on America's Next Top Model? And it had this like weird Gmail address. And I was like, that's really weird for VH1 to have a Gmail like email for submission. And like, but I'm going to just try it because why not? Like, this is my last shot. And that was when they picked up on, same girl, same story. And it kind of just skyrocketed from there.
That's awesome. I love it. There's a lot of parts in your story that I actually want to go back to and talk about. But so you were on the last season then? Is that
Yes,
correct?
the final season. Yes.
Okay. So 24 total seasons is what they ended up.
24 altogether. Yep.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, so I wanted to ask you, when you first went that you didn't get the opportunity, do you remember what season that was or how many years in between?
That was I believe, the very first guy girl season. So the season
Okay.
that Don Benjamin would have been
Okay.
on is the season
Yeah.
that I initially auditioned for. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And we were both from Minneapolis at the time. I don't remember seeing him at the audition. Maybe he did an audition there. I don't really remember, but I don't remember seeing.
Right. Very cool. And so when you went, it was your kind of your breakthrough opportunity, like you had not modeled prior to that first audition.
No, not necessarily. I went to a modeling school. I used to do pageantry, which kind of
Okay.
goes hand in hand with like dancers. So that pageants was as close as my mom would let me get to modeling. She was like terrified of me becoming a model. And one of the subcategories in my pageant was casual wear modeling. And the winner of that gets a full ride scholarship to a modeling school. And I won.
Oh, nice.
So I got a full ride scholarship to a modeling school. And after that, I told my mom, I was like, no more pageants now. Like, I'm going to modeling school. And like, we're doing this now, like right now. So, so yeah, that's where that kind of began. And I had done like some small photo shoots. I'm from Minneapolis. So like the Target Corporation is out there, a lot of like Target campaigns and I think Starbucks maybe. There's a lot of like really big corporate companies that are based out of there. So it's easy to
Right.
get that type of commercial work, but branching outside of that wasn't really in the scope of living there. Like where you live really does matter in this industry. And I was a minor plus living in a really small city with limited opportunities. So I could only go so far as that. But, I had a few professional photo shoots from my modeling school, but nothing in comparison to like what I've done in the last 10 years, I would say.
Right. Very cool. So you secretly had this passion to want to model, but you didn't really share and you were shy. But then your journey, you ventured into the dance world, and of course that kind of opened you up to not being as shy. Kind of took you out of the box, is what you were telling us.
Yeah, basically, I've always been a dancer. Like my mom, I come from a family of musicians, so like I feel like
Okay.
music is in our blood. So movement is like really important to everybody, whether it's playing an instrument, dancing, like acting, whatever it is. Everyone's got a little bit of something performative in them. But I've always, I guess, been a dancer. My mom will tell you like family holidays, it was like the most awkward thing for me, you guys. I don't know if any of you guys have gone through this, but I was the one who was like, my mom would tell me, get up and like put on your dance outfit and like do the moonwalk across the like in front of my whole family. I never got a break. So I was always a dancer. Like that was always there. It just, I think at the time, a better and more experienced dancer than I was a model. Modeling was like so new and foreign to me. At that time, dancing was like something everyone was like, yeah, do that.
I always tell people, be sure to study your craft. Like make sure that you're constantly educating yourself and constantly improving and take as many classes and improve me from where you're at today. But do you think watching all those shows when you were a kid, do you think that helped you get into the series itself and just studying it? Like, do you think that,
Absolutely. I wouldn't say that every single thing that I know after like what 23 years in this industry, I wouldn't say everything that I know I learned from Top Model, but I would say a huge portion of what I have learned as like my core and my foundation for approaching this industry came from that show. Absolutely. Yeah.
and I know that you said that your family wasn't that supportive of you being a model. And I love that you say that because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are feeling the same thing. And why were they so against, why do you think they were so against you maybe wanting to break into being a model? Was there
I
any?
think for my family, I am a very perfectionist, like do it the best you're ever going to do it, and then anyone's going to do it or nothing at all. And I think for my family, just knowing my spirit, I guess, that they didn't want me to fail at something that I really was so passionate about. So it was easier to prevent me from getting to it so that I didn't know. Um, but also that there's no one else in my family who has even been in this like in a spotlight position like this at all, been a public figure, nothing in that realm whatsoever. So I think for them it was more scary for them than it was for me to let me go chase and achieve a dream. And like people are right, acting, modeling, singing, any of it, like it's not, they're not common careers. And like a lot of people chase these things and not every single person is going to make it. You know, a lot of it is time and opportunity and being in the right place at the right time and just chance, you know. So I think for them it was just more scary to like let me go figure something out on my own because no one else in my family had the guidance to be able to give me. Like I was going to have to raw dog this whole industry by myself.
Nobody was there.
No.
Looking back, if you had something that you wish you had known preparing for being in the industry, what do you think that would be if there was one thing that you,
There was something that I wish I had known, at least within this industry, that people don't care about your feelings, like your personal, how you're personally affected by a lot in this industry doesn't matter. And that has changed over the last recent years. I feel like the industry is starting to care people's perspectives and like an audience inclusivity and like things like that. But there was a time way back when I first started modeling, we're like that wasn't a thing. So had someone taught me that my personal feelings and like emotions and certain things weren't going to matter, then I probably would have approached it with a little less emotion at the beginning and just really looked at it as a job instead of it being personal to me in that way. I guess like it's personal to you, of course, but you have to step out of being yourself when you're in a professional environment in this industry, unfortunately. um so yeah, I just that part.
I love that. That's actually, I think that's great advice for anybody out there because I try to tell that over and over again in other industry professionals that I talk to. We say, hey, rejection is a thing in this business that you're going to have to learn. Never take it personally because it's never even mostly even about you. It's
No,
just,
never.
it's a business and it's a brand and they're trying to make the right decision for their business or brand.
Yeah. And most of the time most of this is just based on opinion, right? Like one creative director who was handling the casting for something this month may not even work there at that company the next month or the next year. And it's a totally different person with a totally different opinion. So it's like you can't let it get to you. You have to kind of just like let it go in take it in, but let it go in one ear and out the other, and not let it affect your drive for the next thing. Like, because if you let it, it definitely will.
Right. And that's why it's important for networking as well, because you might have a great connection with a creative director and then they go on and work with another brand. Well, guess what? Who do you think they're calling?
You're a shoo-in for that company that they work for now. And like I
Right.
have made so many connections in this industry just by networking alone and like staying connected with people and just having like a great repertoire with people, I guess. And just keeping those relationships alive. A lot of I try to tell people all the time, this industry, you have to make it work for you. The second you go MIA and the second you go ghost on anything, you're not present on social media, or you're just not there, the industry will easily forget about you. So like your work and the amount that you're working, a lot of that is based on you and your drive and your effort and your ability to pop up and say like, hey, hi, I'm still here, you know?
Right. And then keeping all those good connections and working it. Have you gotten work just based on your connections? Just based on working one job and then
Easy. I can say after establishing myself in this industry, so much of my residual work over and over comes from past connections that I've made from like different brands and different things. Yeah.
What was your one like breakthrough moment where you thought, "Oh, I made it"? Like for example, when Don was on here, he said that he wanted to work for Gap jeans,
Okay.
right? And that was his big dream. And that was his aha moment once he got a campaign with them. So
For me, I would say, I mean, this is a big deal. I worked for Victoria's Secret swimwear, and I never thought that being short and not being like I'm definitely on the shorter end of the spectrum. I'm not gonna sit here and I think I shoot very tall, so people are like, oh, she's like 5'11". No, I'm like itty bitty, super itty bitty, and not at all the ideal like Victoria's Secret model. And then on top of it, I'm bald, so like the idea of swimwear. Most of those girls have hair, and like you know how that goes. So for me, I just never, I guess I never imagined like Victoria's Secret and for Victoria's Secret somewhere all together. And that was kind of my moment where I was like, okay, so like no one could ever convince me that any job isn't for me if I was able to do Victoria's Secret.
right. That's amazing. How does your family feel about you modeling now?
Everyone's really supportive. Not everyone. I would say that there's a few people that are still on the fence just because they're kind of like stuck in old traditional ways of like, that's not a job, it's more of a hobby. But for the most part, I would say everyone's kind of like fully on board. Now they realize that I wasn't crazy, I wasn't delusional, and that, I chased something and like made it work for me. Everyone's pretty supportive. I mean, everyone, if it helps, everyone tries to get like free PR and free tickets to events and things like that now. Or they'll like ask like, "Oh my God, your famous friend with the blue check mark." My mom says all the time. She's like, can you get them to follow me on Instagram? Yeah.
I love it. Do you feel like the show accelerated your career, or do you think it was just a step in your journey?
For me personally, I do think it was just a step in my journey. I mean, when I tell you I hustled and worked my ass off to make this industry work for me before I had even got to America's Next Top Model, I really did. I had done a lot, Target, Playboy. I've been in Playboy 6 times. And I mean, I know for a lot of people that's subjective, but for me, that was a big deal, especially having come right before America's, not right before, but before America's Next Top Model pretty significantly. And I had amassed, like, I mean, I was a hometown hottie and Maxim. I had, I think, a couple FHM covers. There was a couple things going on for me but I was more in the line of like, sexier lingerie, swimwear modeling. I wasn't doing much for fashion. So I had a really big male audience, which was great. And that's super easy to attain, especially as a girl. We're all girls here. Super easy to obtain. But we want the girls. The girls are where the big money comes from when we're working, right? So that was where I was working toward heading toward. But I was wearing wigs, and I was masking what would work for me as a high fashion model at the time. So I was really limiting any visibility and like income for me, anything, by sticking to just glamour modeling and like the more sexier side and commercial side of things. Um, so I had amassed like a huge following just from that alone. And then I would just say Top Model was just another stepping stone. I don't think that they would have put me on the show or really brought in anything about me if I didn't have all of those elements behind me. Like Playboy, especially for reality TV, and then me being bald, like I was a really controversial person to put on TV. I was a character for them to kind of like stretch and bend and pull. And I was a complex character. A lot of people go into a show like that and don't really have much of experience. I did. So for me, it worked with me and against me. But I would just say Top Model was just a stepping stone because they really did pull off of a lot of what I had already amassed for myself and then switch the narrative up to work for them and their audience. So yeah.
Do you think being at the first casting that you went to that you didn't get the part, and then going to the second casting that really helped you know how to prepare and what they were looking for?
I think so. The first time they didn't really focus too much on asking me questions about alopecia. So I'm not sure if any of you guys know my story, but I lost my hair when I was 9, between 9 and like 12. And I was completely bald and then I got a wig and I clung to that like a security blanket. So I think my first audition, I would never walk around like this. That was never going to happen. On my season of Top Model, they took my wig off and it was like this big monumental makeover. But the very first season I had auditioned for, there was no way in hell I was going to let them like take my wig off like that. I had told them about my story and I told them I had alopecia, but nobody saw it first. And I wasn't really willing. Versus my second time auditioning, I was like, okay, cool. Here I am. And like, here's everything about me. And like, do with it what you wish. And I think it's just because I was more secure with myself too. I had gone through a lot of life at that point instead of being like an 18-year-old kid, didn't know anything. You know, by the time I was on Top Model, I was almost 25. So there's a lot that changes in those 7 years, you know. But yeah, I do think that had a lot to do with the difference between me auditioning the first and the second time.
Did you ever fear going into the modeling industry that that would be something that you would have an issue with?
Yeah, honestly, at the very beginning of everything, I thought it was going to be my biggest downfall. I was like, okay, I lost my hair. And like, to be honest with you, my natural hair was probably the coolest thing about me. And then to lose it, I was like, okay, so how do I fix it so that I work? Because at the time, inclusivity isn't then honestly didn't really exist. Now we see people who are, you know, curvier, shorter, taller, have vitiligo, have freckles, you know, like you stretch marks, you name it, you see it now, right? Representation matters now, but it didn't matter then. And so for me, I didn't at all have the example of someone in the media or being a model that had alopecia or hair loss or was bald in general. That wasn't a thing. Like models weren't really bald back then. Everyone was trying to do the Victoria's Secret blowout type of hair, and like that was just what you saw. So I made it a mission to make sure I put some hair back on my head because I was like, okay, that's what it's going to take for me to work in the industry. I know I have everything else outside of being tall. Of course, I can't change that, but yeah, I did my best to try to replace that, and I do think that I thought having hair was really going to affect my ability to be successful in this industry. Yeah. And that was like the worst thing ever because the nothing could have been further from the truth.
Right. Absolutely. And so with getting an agency to represent you, were you fearful of that fact as well, or was that something that you'd already been on the show and they already knew who you were?
No, prior to getting on the show, getting an agency was actually fairly easy, but the clients were really small. It was very local agencies, so you're really limited. Versus after the show, I wasn't so worried about getting an agency after the show outside of the fact that they made me look like the villain and they made me look like I was difficult to work with, which in hindsight, it's funny, but at the same time, for me, at the time, it was really frustrating because it impacted how clients saw my workability and if I was actually easy to work with versus actually understanding that it's reality TV.
Right.
So it kind of became hard after the show to get an agency just because a lot of agents, they would sign me and that wouldn't be the problem. It was just pitching me to clients. Thereafter the show, it was less like, oh, wow, you have an amazing bald model. We love her look. We would love to use her for this brand, this skincare, this, that. It was more like, oh, that's the bald girl from America's Next Top Model. And there was no disassociation from me and my look and then me and America's Next Top Model. So it would frustrate a lot of clients and a lot of brands that there was too much affiliation with the show. And that I was overexposed in a way that they didn't want that. I mean, could you imagine you're selling makeup and every time someone walks past the campaign, they're like, that's that girl from Top Model, not, oh my God, wow, look at her lashes. Like the new Revlon mascara is like really cool, you know? So those things need to be taken into account. I wish I would have known that before going on the show. Cause if I would have known to just snatch my wig and like just be raw and myself and like that social media was going to be what it was too, because way back then social media didn't exist for me. So this has been a very different world. But if I would have known all of that, I probably would have approached it a lot differently. I wouldn't say that like, I'm going to be very honest. I would not sit here and say that like someone needs a show or like an easy outlet in that way to be successful in this industry whatsoever. Like I wish I knew what I knew now way back then.
Right, right. And so that's the hard part about reality TV is they're constantly filming and you're constantly interacting with everybody and then however they want to edit creatively to
Yes.
make the drama for the show, right? Is that
It's very, very dramatic, very, very much what the people see on TV is not what we are experiencing at all in real life. Like
right?
they could put something from like a week ago
Mm,
right after something that literally had just happened and like tie it together, and they can
Right.
make you say things you've never said before. Like it gets really crazy, and you don't realize these things until you're on a reality show. Like the power of editing and the power of like frankenbiting is really a thing. um yeah, you don't really know all that until you do it, so
Right.
lesson learned.
And you don't know, and I don't think even the producers really kind of know how it's going to be edited until they get into the editing side of things. But they're trying to create creative edits for drama. They want to keep the audience hooked. They want to have at the end of every episode I can't wait to watch next week
I
because
have to be back next week, yeah.
right, yeah. So they need those moments, right? So they have to creatively edit it. So
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
getting into the agency side, I know some of our viewers here today, they're hoping to get signed with agents and be a part of the modeling world or acting world or whatever they're interested in doing. But what do you think are some common mistakes that somebody makes when meeting with an agent? Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I guess I feel like a lot of the thing that I see the most would probably be presentation. I think a lot of people think that they need to go in full hair, full makeup, like they just stepped off of a set or a photo shoot. And oftentimes that's every time, not oftentimes, all the time. That is not at all what they're looking for. They really want to see, like, they want to see your freckles. They want to see your pores in your skin. They want to see your skin can be a little shiny, put some moisturizer on. But like they want to see who you truly are. They don't want to see you all glammed up. They need to see the base and the core that they're working with to know what's possible with you and what clients that they can make work for you. Um, and then also on the flip side, your book. I think a lot of people walk in with a portfolio that doesn't properly represent them in any way, shape, or form. It's either photos that they've taken off their phone. Like one or two professional photos is like 8 million times better than like 10 portrait mode iPhone photos that don't look great. The lighting is like semi okay. They'd rather you come in with one picture or two great pictures or none at all than like what you think you should be presenting yourself as a model. I think the book is probably over like the look that you walk in with, to be honest with you, because I see that mistake so often. And I think people just want to present themselves better and show that like, hey, I have pictures. And it's like, yes, but if it's a bad picture of you, it doesn't you no justice. It makes you
Right.
look bad. So it's just that like the more simple you are about this, it's not you don't have to overthink it. Literally just like put some moisturizer on, brush your teeth, brush your hair and your eyebrows, and like have some coffee and walk into a room and just be yourself. Don't feel like you have to impress anybody. Have a conversation just like this. Like I remember when I first started modeling, I'd walk in and like of course I come from the pageant world, so I was like, hi, I'm Jeana, right away. And like, they don't want that. Just walking in and be like, hey girl, what's up? Sorry, the traffic was like really crazy outside. Couldn't park. Like they know that, like, and just genuinely just be yourself. They're not judging you.
Nice. And then when you get into the actual booking, let's say you're working with a brand new client, what do you do to prepare for that? Do you do any homework and research the client or how?
Yeah, oftentimes I'll do my homework before I like accept not accept a submission, but like typically your agent will give you a brief or a rundown about a brand or a client or a job that they submitted you for before you even get to that point. There's multiple steps before you get there to determine whether or not that's a brand you want to work with. That's when you'd want to start doing the researching, is at the beginning. The second any type of pitch is being told to you, you may not work for that brand. Go research them and then find out how you can manipulate yourself as a model and as a human to fit their brand. There might be some things that they don't like. It may just be a beauty brand, right? Okay, cool. Go through your book now and take out all of your fashion photos and only put your beauty images as the presentation images first if you need to go meet them, because that's truly all they care about. But little things like that, and definitely researching helps. It also would help you to understand, like once you're on set, how to um, angle yourself and just like what their primary angle is. A lot of brands use the same type of imagery over and over and over. So if you go research that before you get there, you kind of have like a stronger footing, I feel like, and like your comfortability that day, instead of guessing like, oh, do they want me here? Do they like this? Or like, do they like a lot of hands? Do they not? You know what I mean? Like just stuff like that.
And do you go usually typically on their socials and look at all their image that
Yep,
they have
socials,
posted and
images. Yeah, typically they're socials, but then a lot of times I'll look at like their tagged pictures because that's going to give me also an insight into like behind the scenes from models and people that they've worked with and like how they conduct themselves as well. You know, is it probably going to be in a big warehouse? Is it going to be in a small studio? Just little things, but definitely Google. Their website's going to tell you a lot. The product pages on websites for whatever you're going to set, whatever you're going to be shooting is going to tell you more than anything. So that's typically where I start. And if I have any questions, I go to my agent right away and I'm like, can you find this out for me so that I know when I walk in there, like what I'm supposed to be doing. They will do the hard work for you. Your agent will always be the bad guy for you. They will always be the bad guy for you.
right, absolutely. That's what they're there for, right?
Yeah, exactly. They are the middleman for a reason.
Right. Now, when you're going to an actual shoot for the first time working with a client, what's in your modeling bag? Like typically, what do you like to bring with you?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're always going to want to keep your makeup. You need concealer, foundation, powder, mascara, lip gloss. That is it. Hairbrush, anything to take care of your hair. I don't know anything about that because I don't have that. And then, of course, you're going to want to, and as far as like clear gloss, always keep a red lipstick with you. You literally never know when you're going to need a red lipstick. I have been caught in a lot of situations where I've needed red lipstick and it wasn't provided on set, and I had to just magically pull it out of my bag because the other people around you who don't have red lipstick, you'll end up borrowing it. And I promise you, you'll be everyone's best friend. If you ever need anything all day, every other model's gonna be so nice to you because you got what they need. And then also always like a nude pair of heels, a black pair of heels, just in case. Like I've been in so many situations, especially being really petite. I have small feet and I have, you give your sizing to an agent and they send it over and you get on set and literally none of the small things fit you. The shoes that they pulled don't fit you. The undergarments that they pulled don't fit you. So always, nude bra, nude underwear. If you want black, great, but go with nude all the time. That's always going to work for you. And a snack and a phone charger. Like there's nothing worse than having your phone die on set. You're on like a break, and this industry loves to do what I call hurry up and wait. So like you're always in a rush to like get somewhere and be somewhere on time, but then by the time you get there, everyone's like, okay, but wait, for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And you're like, okay, cool. So a lot of times you'll end up sitting there burning time on your phone, buying time. And then your phone will be dead by the end of the night. And you'll be mad because you won't get PTS. You won't get any of those things. And you'll be relying on everyone else to airdrop you and you'll forget and you'll be upset. But just minimal things. Your favorite snacks, you always go hungry. There's never enough of what you want on a set, even when food is provided. So always bring your favorite snack.
Nice. Now, going to the social side of things on social media, I know that you mentioned it a couple times already, but how important is it in today's world for models or aspiring models to be posting on their socials?
Okay, so this is an interesting question for me because I've had to reanalyze this recently. At the very beginning of at least my modeling career, social media wasn't a thing. It was more of just your resume and who you knew and connections and all that stuff. And then obviously social media was introduced and it became like you have to have a social presence and almost that you can't really work without one. Um, and now I feel like we're reversing. I'm noticing now that even though I have a social presence, that does not matter anymore. No one really cares about that. Not that they don't care. Does it help? Absolutely. Because how many of our followers you have, that's that many more eyes on a product or, something that you're advertising or modeling for. That's for that client. They know, like, I have 206,000 followers. So like, oh, if she posts it, that's 206,000 more people than we like paid to advertise to. And like, of course she's going to share it. Right. But not every brand cares about that. Some do, but I would say that like right now, that's not really, I wouldn't really say that that works in your favor or against you right now. It's kind of in a neutral position where like it could matter, I guess, but it doesn't. If that makes any sense. I've dealt with a lot of people like going for a lot of jobs and a lot of response of like, oh, you only got that job because you have, 200 something thousand followers. And I'm like, no, actually, I got that job because I worked my ass off and they probably aren't even aware of my social media. And it's easy for you to chop it down to the following versus me working really hard for what I have. So in some cases, yes, but I feel like for more people, like If you're going the traditional route of modeling as a model, I don't think your social media matters. I think if you're going at pitching to a brand or a campaign or whatever as an influencer, then I feel like the following matters a little bit more. Influencers are starting to get more jobs, but that's typically based off the following versus like if you look at that same campaign that influencers in, the models that are in the background or in the forefront of that campaign, they probably don't have a crazy social media.
Right. So it matters, but it's helpful, but it doesn't
Yes.
matter.
Yes. And I play two roles. I model, but then I also have like naturally adapted to influencing just because of being on a reality show. So like I have a hard time stretching myself thin between the two and like approaching some jobs like, do I approach this job as a model or is it better for me to approach this job as an influencer? So when you get in that space, it can be very confusing. But if you're approaching a job as a model, do not worry about your following. Just make sure your book is good, you make a great impression, and you show up and you show out to work. That's all.
And on the socials, are you primarily focused on one platform or on all of them?
Yeah, I would say, no, maybe all of them. I don't know. I don't intentionally like try to separate focusing on just TikTok today, just Facebook, just Insta. Like I have them all linked together at this point where if I post to one, it like posts to all of them. So it makes it
Right.
seem like I'm present. So make technology work for you guys, okay? Because that definitely matters. But I would say like my main bread and butter is Instagram. That's probably where I have the biggest outreach. I know people like I've gotten a lot of advice recently to take up TikTok and I haven't. I was like, I'm one of those people where like if a good movie comes out and everyone's watching it, right? Like everyone's going to the theater to watch it and I haven't seen it yet. I'm like, I'll wait like 3 years to watch it, right? Until the
Right.
hype dies down. And I was kind of like that with TikTok. When TikTok first came out, I was like, no, like especially it was right after I got off America's Next Top Model, and it was just I had so much going on. I was literally on a plane 98% of the time, so I was like trying to start a TikTok right now seems impossible, like absolutely impossible. But everyone else was on it, so I was like, no, I'm just gonna like I don't need it, I don't need it. And then someone took my TikTok name,
Oh
and
no.
as soon as I found out someone took my TikTok name, I got so defensive. I was like, now I need to start TikTok. So whenever a new platform comes out, you guys jump on it and snag your username immediately. I learned this lesson the hard way. I have not been able to secure my own TikTok for the last 7 years. I just got it this past spring. So
Oh.
so I'm trying to work on TikTok. I am.
I know in hindsight, right? Like right when Instagram jumped out on the space, if we all jumped on that and just started
Right.
random posting every day, who would have thought?
Yeah,
How
I
much
mean,
all
wasn't there like Periscope was like a huge thing for a while and then it
right.
just disappeared. Like Periscope's not a thing anymore. So you never know what's really gonna like kick off and what's not. But Vine is coming back. So if you guys are smart, get on Vine right away.
And then I know Snapchat actually got a like I think a $2 billion offer from Facebook back in the day, and they didn't
Really?
take it. And they could have been the next Instagram had they done
Gosh,
that.
yeah, because I feel like Snap kind of died down too, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's still out there. I know it is, but
Yeah,
it just to think of where it could be today.
yeah, for sure.
So if somebody's starting off on their career with what would be the one thing that they could focus on this week? Let's say we're all here, we get inspired by you, and we're like, yes, I can't wait to become a supermodel. And what would one thing that they can do today or this week that they can work on?
I would say before you get into the logistics of actually working, do homework. Sit on YouTube and Google for a day and research models, old school models, models that have been vetted, that have been in this for a long time, newer models. Just watch them, watch how they move, watch how they work, watch campaigns for the artistry and how the model's working, not as an H&M ad. Don't watch it as an ad. Watch what they're doing in the background and like just little things like that. Those are things you can do immediately to start kind of crafting your own thing. Like you'll see, for me, like I know a lot of people think like a model is just a model. No, a lot of models are a combination of multiple different models that made them that unique character. And I know I learned a lot of like my walking from Naomi Campbell and Tyra Banks and Shalom Harlow and like people that people, if I named right now, you'd be like, who the heck is that? But that's because I've watched and I've seen little things and I'm like, wow, I how she does that, but I want to make that work for me and then combine it with little elements of things. I think that where you start curating who you are will help you so much more before you step into a room, and it'll help you into a room and walk in front of a person and you're actually being judged from that moment as to who you are. That way you're not walking out feeling like, did I do a good job? Or like, like we all go through that, right? Like it sucks to feel like that. After I leave an audition now, I never think like that to myself. I'm like, it either worked or it didn't. They either liked me or they didn't. Like, I'm not gonna go home and beat myself up or cry in the parking lot before I take off. Like, I'm not gonna do that, right? Like, leave with confidence, but all of that comes from the self-building that you're gonna do at home by yourself that no one else sees. Make crazy faces in the mirror where no one is seeing you and you can kind of just be yourself and you're the only person judging yourself. But I think that would be the like core to start curating and shaping who you are as a model. And then there, Google is your best friend. I always tell people this. People like message me on Instagram all the time and they're like, hey, like, can you help me with like, I want to get signed to an agency, but I don't know what to do. And it's like, Google is the easiest to like search engine to use. It really is. Wherever you're at locally, modeling exists everywhere. It does not just exist in Los Angeles. It does not just exist in New York. It doesn't just exist in Milan. It's literally everywhere and it's in your hometown too, no matter how little it is. So it's like you just have to Google and find those opportunities and see what's available. And a lot of it is as simple as Googling like a local modeling agency and going in for a meeting. Just set up a meeting and see what happens. Don't expect that the first meeting is going to go great. Just go and see what it's like first, because once you experience that, then you'll know how to approach the second, third, and fourth better than the first. So I think that would be, the two things I would say is yourself and then researching local opportunities, because you can't branch out and get huge opportunities until you start small. Nothing big ever got big without starting small. It's just the truth.
Right, absolutely. Now, so starting small just builds up that confidence, right? I mean, it just gets you that more confidence. Hey, I can do this. I am capable of doing this. I can reach my dreams, my goals. And it just gives you more for your portfolio as well. It gives you more to show. It gives you, not more confidence, more to show. It's just a great way to start. So study first,
Yeah.
learn, learn your craft or learn from other models, and then branch out locally to see what you can find.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
And I would say reach out, I mean, Facebook is still like a very active community of people trying to find opportunities and a great way to link with people. So, I mean, I would try to find other models that are in your area that are, interested in the same things as you, because a lot of this industry is word of mouth, a lot of it, and connections like we talked about earlier. So the second you can create, a small community of people who are on the run of trying to achieve that have the same goals as you, I think it'll become easier to be like, hey, well, we know this. Like if a job, like with me, if a job is calling for a model who's 5'11" and I'm not 5'11, but everything else works for me, but I'm like, oh shit, I have a friend who's 5'11" and like she fits every single thing here. I'm gonna call her and be like, hey, there's a job. I don't, the submission ends tonight, but I just wanted to pass this along just in case you didn't know about it. But once you create a community of people who are in that same realm of what you're doing, you will hear so many more opportunities than just trying to research it yourself. A lot of it is word of mouth.
Right. Now, I noticed that we have the chat. I don't know if I have the chat open or not for you guys to submit questions here, but I think I just fixed it so that you guys can ask questions. So feel free to drop in any questions that you guys have here. We have a few more minutes remaining as well. Uh, are you guys able to chat with me? Because participants can chat with the meeting group. Yes? No? Oh, there we go. Okay, good. We got it. All right, perfect. I love it. Excellent. So now, being you say you're on the smaller side, we do have some questions come in, and we'll get to those questions here. But real quickly before we do that, I just want to ask you on the fashion runway side of things, have you had a lot of opportunities on the fashion runway, or not as many because of your height?
I have, believe it or not. I would say like the brunt of me really working and like grinding in this industry was a lot of beauty. I've probably worked for every makeup brand you could possibly think of. And that's kind of where that started. But as that trajectory happened, I started getting offers to be on the runway, and that kind of took over everything. So at this point in my career, the majority of what I do is runway, even though I am shorter. And it's not to say that you can't do runway short. I mean, Kate Moss. What's Steve Aoki's sister's name?
Uh,
Anyone know?
yeah, good question.
Uh, I forget her name. But she's super short. Kate Moss's daughter is very short, and they do runway all the time. So like, and that's where the connections and who you know and the impressions you've made on people do kind of matter, because there's a lot of times that the average model may not get an opportunity over someone who's not the average model because they didn't have that connection. So that's why I say that kind of stuff really does matter. I have been on a runway more times than I've done a beauty ad at this point.
Nice. I
And
love
I love it. I think it's very fun. It's very freeing. I like the fact that you don't have to like sit and pose and be RBF the whole time, like it's a little more freedom, especially
obviously.
dance world. Like I like movement, so like on the runway is really fun. But no one could ever tell me that being short or being under, what's the runway standard, 5'9", 5'8", no one could ever tell me that that's a thing anymore. I don't even believe that.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of changes in the industry, that's for sure. All that energy from the DJ, from the lights, from the crowd, of course, runway's the best, right?
It really is fun. It's a little nerve-wracking sometimes, but it is fun.
I do have a question here from James. He says, what's the best way to have your portfolio?
The best way to have your portfolio. Okay, so I just did portfolio reviews with the last group, so I'm like fresh on this. So I always say your best thing that you should do in general. Number one, have a comp card. Have something to leave them with after you are gone. It's beautiful to have a portfolio, but once you walk out of that room, they have nothing left but memory to remember you by, unless you leave them with a photo. So always come in with a comp card in addition to your portfolio. And then as far as your portfolio organization, like the order, I always say pitch with a really strong headshot first. Something that's clean, like a typical after headshot, but something that's very clean and shows your features, but bold enough to make them remember, because that's going to be the first thing that they saw. Um, and then next, something I always say, have some variety, show some swimwear, show some fashion, show some athleisure, like you want to have a variety and like a flow. So if you're going to have an open book and it's 2 pages, right? Because that first page is just your face. Second pages, you want the colors to at least kind of like have a flow where they're copacetic with each other. So don't have, I don't know, lime green with stripes and then like something really crazy on, or maybe have something super crazy on the other page. I guess that makes sense. But just have it be copacetic in a way and have a flow so that it doesn't seem so abrupt, and it's digestible.
I love that. Digestible.
Yeah. And don't have filler images. That's another thing. Like if you have, 2 great swimwear shots, I would, or let's say 3. I would pick the best one. If you're going to fight with yourself over picking one, pick the very best one. And do not use your own opinion as what do I think is my best swimwear shot, because we're biased and we're probably wrong half the time. Ask someone else. Ask like 5 other people. Take a picture of all 3 and put it on your Instagram story and make people vote. And whatever the majority votes with, go with that, even if that's not what you would naturally pick for yourself, because there's a reason that it was like mass gravitated toward versus like what you think. And I know we want to walk in with a bunch of pictures, right? But if you have 3 swimwear pictures, it doesn't matter. Just pick the best one. Just pick the best one and the best beauty image and the best fashion image. There's no point in having a portfolio worth of like 30 photos, because an agent is quite literally, from my experience, they're only going to actually pay attention to the first like 3 to 5 images before they start flipping through pages while they're talking to you. And then you realize like, you're not looking at my book, look at it. And they're like asking you questions about your day and like who you are. So I feel like I've noticed they start disassociating around like page 3 to 5. So just make sure those first 5 pages are going to be your like smack in the face, remember me pictures.
I love that. Now, would you suggest, like, say your book holds 20 pages and you only have 5 good photos, rather than fill the 15 with filler, or just leave them blank? What would your
I think
suggestion?
empty. I think I would leave them empty. It's better than having potentially an image that they could see that could work against you just because you tried to fill a page. It's okay if a book is empty. That means that there's nothing but space and opportunity for work, and let your agent know that.
Nice. Now, Yellow Med says, how do you bounce back from hardships, especially within modeling? Like probably a time of discouragement, or maybe didn't book the job that you really wanted. What's a good way mentally for you to get through that?
I just went through this yesterday. I was passed on for a job that I worked really hard to get, jumped through a lot of hoops, and at the very last minute, and this job was supposed to be for tomorrow, actually. So it was a really last minute thing, and I really had my heart set on it, and it was a passion project and just something that really, really mattered to me. And they ended up going with a different person. And did it bum me out? Yes. But at the same time, you kind of have to just convince yourself that like just as much as that opportunity randomly presented itself to you, there are 8 million more opportunities just like that, and you can't let the outcome of one failed attempt at something dictate the future for every single thing that you approach that way. And I don't know, I mean, we're all different in terms of like our mentals when we deal with things, but I don't know about you guys, but I'm a thug. I don't know how to fail at something and not get my ass back up and try again. Like I don't know how to do anything but that. um so sometimes I would say, if you're in a situation where you do miss out on opportunity and it really does affect you, feel that and let it bother you, but don't let it keep bothering you, because you're going to hear no left and right. And if you're hard on yourself every single time something doesn't work out in this industry, if you're going to do that every single time, you're not going to make it very far for very long. So you have to learn how to like just brush it all off and just be like, there's another one where that came from. There will always be more opportunities.
Right. I always tell my clients, try to do your audition, do the best you can, and then try to forget about it. And I know
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
very
Exactly. And
difficult to say.
I think I have a trauma response now, like where I go do something or I audition for something, and like once it's over, I'm like, I don't remember what I actually did. And maybe that's just the natural thing that I've like gained being in this industry for so long. But I do realize now that like after being in it for so long, you stop thinking about all those like little things and all the, oh, I could have done this better. I should have done this better. Who cares? Whatever happened, happened. That's part of it. Just let it go and go to the next one.
Ashley's asking a question. I know we probably have time for just a couple more questions, but she's asking if you have a digital portfolio, is it good to have like a link to that, or how does digital work in today's world with the portfolios and auditions?
So typically, as far as like if you're doing an online submission, of course, I would recommend sending them a link where they can see everything, whether it's iCloud link or we transfer or any of that stuff. Definitely have your core images in that if you're submitting virtually or via email or something. But if you're going to go in person with like a digital, have an iPad, or I always recommend a tablet. If you guys don't have one, they're $40 on Amazon, and like the easiest things, they stay charged forever, and the pictures look clear, and they're just easy to bring with you everywhere. And if they break, you don't feel like you're losing your mind on an $800 iPad. Um, but yeah, I always recommend keeping a digital one. If you have a physical book, that's great. But also with a physical book, you have to deal with the pain of getting your photos printed every time you need something updated, right? So in today's world, I do think that having a digital portfolio is easier with how media works now. Like you just add it in. Um, but what she said, I'm reading her question, or a link to one. Do we send it as part of our work? I feel like she's asking in terms of like an email. So if you're gonna do like a virtual submission to an agency, definitely include your work. You don't want to send like just an email that doesn't have any substance as far as like what you look like. You definitely want to include that.
And I always recommend you guys, when you do submit to agents or managers, it's good to have the links, but a lot of times if it's a cold submission and this is the first correspondence from you to them, they're not going to click on those links because they don't know who you are. So I recommend that you size your image, like size an image or two small enough to include in the email body itself. So that way they actually, when they open up the email, they can read your email, they can see your image without actually physically clicking on a link. That's going to be helpful. Obviously, if it's somebody like a client of mine sends me a link, I know I trust them and I click on it and open it, right? So, but
I
when
think
it's a
that's the scary part now is like with a link, you never know if it's going to be spam or, you know.
right. So make sure you include your resume in that email. Make sure it's small enough. Make sure you have a couple images included. Make sure they're small enough so that the email gets sent and doesn't just keep bouncing back to you. Because some photos nowadays, the digital sizes can be massive
Yes,
and
exactly.
hard to email.
Yes, yes.
I see Josh is back with us. Welcome.
I've been
Welcome.
here the whole time.
Oh, I just saw you pop in.
No, I've been here the whole time. What are you
We
talking
are
about?
wrapping up. We are wrapping up now, but any big plans for Thanksgiving this week?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Uh, yeah, man, I'm gonna be with family, take a couple days off, and then back to work on Friday. We're gonna be shooting some content with the bad boys. So
Yes. So all of you out there, make sure you follow them if you haven't done that yet.
Gino, what do you think about those bad boys, those 90-day bad boys?
Hilarious to me. Whenever you guys need another girl, I can dance, so let me know. I'll
Oh, there
happily
we go.
be
Got some dance background.
Okay.
And she isn't.
Careful what you wish for.
no, I'm down. You know, I'm down. But I do want to acknowledge someone's question in here that asked for advice for someone who's very uncomfortable or uneasy in on a situation.
Yeah, good question.
And I do think that's important to answer. Um, Stand up for yourself. I have been in a lot of situations, a lot in this time, where sometimes I didn't stand up for myself, and I had to learn that the hard way. But you're never going to look like a bad person for standing up for yourself. So if you are uncomfortable, tell someone. I'm sure there's a point of contact or someone you've met on set that day that at least did make you feel a little bit of comfort. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been there. Go to that person. Let them know it is okay to call things out. And it is okay to call your agent. Like I was telling you guys earlier, your agent is supposed to be the bad guy. Call your agent in the middle of whatever you're dealing with and let them know what's going on, and they will contact whoever they need to, or they will advise you to just leave. Okay, your agent's never going to tell you to do something that they don't approve of, or that's going to make you look bad. They will take the blame for that, but don't ever tolerate something that's making you genuinely feel uncomfortable just for a paycheck. Like there's not all money is good money, and not all situations are great situations. So definitely stand up for yourself. And if you can't, call me. I got you.
Oh, you're on mute, Josh. Josh, you're on mute.
That was a funny joke, and nobody got to hear it but me. I was laughing at it though. Now, I think that's pretty much it for tonight's live. Hopefully, you guys got some good insights, some good information, took some good notes, and a lot of you will be seeing Miss Jeana in May. We hope to have her back at our next show. You'll be working with her personally. So, guys, that's our time for tonight, and we will see you on Saturday, right, Jeremy?
Yes, sir. Good seeing
All
everybody.
right.
Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family
Happy
time.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
And
Happy holidays.
we'll see you this weekend. Bye now. Thanks, Gina.